Welcome to Indian Diaspora Council International, Indian Diaspora Council Australia. Special tribute to late Professor Brij Lal, who we have lost recently. We've got international speakers. We collected together with efforts from myself and the co-host, Shri Ashok Ramsaranji, who is the president of Indian Diaspora Council International. We're going to start today's proceedings with a prayer to the soul of late Professor Brij Lal by Pandit Pramod Rai.
Thank you, Satish. I'm very saddened to hear about or when I came to know about the passing away of Professor Brij Lal. He was very well known, and not only here, but internationally. And today, what I would like to do on behalf of Indian Diaspora Council Australia and the people who knew him, for his soul, that he finds a place in heaven. And if the human's endeavor is to find a place in heaven, and there are 3 or 4 stages which will lead to that. One of there is dharma, and the second is art, calm, and then eventually moksha. So there is a special prayer for that, and I would like to recite for his soul. Om, 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 Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Purvardhanam Urvarukmiva Urmukchiyamamritat Trayambakam Yajamahe. ये 3 लोगों के पालक, रोग के नाशक को पोषण देने वाले परमात्मा, जिससे पके फल, खासकर खरबूजा, पकने पर स्वयं अलग हो जाती है और उसके खुशबू सभी ओर फैल जाती है, उसी तरह हम ये जीव आत्मा जो हमारे से बिछड़ गए हैं, प्रोफेसर ब्रिज लाल, हम ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि वो मोक्ष प्राप्त करते हुए उसकी जो खुशबू है कार्य किया है एकेडमिक फील्ड में, पॉलिटिकल फील्ड में, और अपने परिवार के प्रति उसके खुशबू सभी ओर जाए, और जो काम उन्होंने किया है पुस्तक लिखते हुए, मेरा पूरा विश्वास है कि जब तक मानव यहाँ पर रहेंगे उनके जो किया हुआ कार्य सभी ओर पड़ेंगे। आखिरी में मैं उस परिवार के प्रति प्रकट करते हुए हम यही आशा करते हैं कि उनके परिवार को शक्ति दे, खासकर उनके जो पत्नी हैं डॉक्टर पद्मा लाल और उनके बच्चे, उनको मार्गदर्शन दिखाए, शक्ति दे कि जो इनके जो जीवन है बहुत यंग एज पर खत्म हो गया है, उसको शक्ति दे कि इतनी बड़ी जो मुश्किल है उससे गुजर करके अपने जो दैनिक जीवन है उसको पुनः स्थापित करें। ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम। धन्यवाद। Back to you, Satish.
Dhanyawad, Pramod. Thank you very much. Before we start the proceedings, I invite Shri Ashok Ramsaran to say initial couple of words. Then I'll invite our guest from Holland to say his tribute. Ashok ji.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Satish. IDC, which is the International organization, or Indian Diaspora Council, recognizes the value in documenting our history, our journeys, and to leave a trail of words and stories for the present and for the future, so that we can rightly correct history as well as tell it the way it should be. Brij Lal was one of those people who exemplifies the history of the Indian diaspora and gave his life, so to speak, towards that goal, to document it. And he wrote many books on this, besides his other stories of his personal problems in Fiji, and several books. And one of the most notable is the Encyclopedia of the Indian Diaspora, which is a widely read book, and it's available for purchase on Amazon. Like many of us here who are people of Indian origin, we feel empathy for Brij Lal because we walk in the same shoes. And so this tribute today is to recognize the man, his work, and what it means to us, walking in the same shoes, or at least looking at those shoes and be aware that there was a man who made it possible for us to remember more of that history. So this is the purpose of this thing today, this tribute. And I thank Dr. Satish Rai, who knew Brij Lal very well and was in contact with him. And so it was a joint initiative, and I welcome this opportunity for us to pay tribute and honor his work and his life. And I welcome everyone here from Oceania, from Europe, and the Caribbean, and North America as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashokji. Let me say we have Danish Ramdin joining us. We've got Rup Narayan Prasad joining us. We have got Shekhar Kumar from USA joining us. And we will invite each of you as we proceed. But as we promised, we want to invite our guests from Europe first. They already look a bit sleepy. It's edging towards midnight there. So I would invite Shri Shradanand Harinandan Singhji to pay his tribute to late Professor Brij Lal.
Hari Om. Om Astu Ma Satgamaya Tam Soma Jyotirgamaya Mritu Ma Maitam Gamaya. वो दिवंग आत्मा को परम गति प्राप्त हो. हमारा नमस्ते, राम राम तथा सलाम दुनिया भर के गिरमिटिया प्राणियों. My dear friends, today we are here by Zoom and thinking about a great, very great person. So about this late Professor Brij Lal ji, who passed away at his home in Brisbane, Australia, at December 25 last year. Well, on behalf of Girmitias in Suriname, where is my birth land, Janamabhumi, and where I'm living now, Holland, I am very happy to put some words. Dr. Satish ji, I'm very grateful you invited me for this Zoom conference. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Dr. Albert Ramchand Ramdin, expresses his heartfelt sorrow to the relatives of Swargvas Professor Sri Brij Lal ji, and also to the total global Girmitia descendants with this great, very great loss. Dr. Ramdin, the minister, who is my friend, he apologized today for this absence due to participation of select in the America, USA, with ministers of foreign affairs of Latin America and the Caribbean. Well, yet it is with a great sadness we were told of the passing of the late professor. Actually, I didn't know him. What I know is from the internet, the books he presented. Let God give the peace and strength to the relatives to survive his loss. We also pray for his Atma, who has earned a place alongside the Super Atma, Param Atma ji. वो आत्मा को परम गति प्राप्त हो, यही हमारी सबके प्रार्थना है. We are praying that he can, as Pandit said, in the heaven, actually in the God of Param Brahman. Late Professor Lal was an accomplished Pacific historian and author and a passionate pro-democracy activist for most of his life, and so he remained until his end. He has made a most distinguished contribution to scholarship on the Indian indentured labor in Fiji, basically. His famous book, Chalo Jahaji, Chalo Jahaji, Chalo Jahaji, is an intensely personal journey through his life and also that of many Indians who became Girmitias in Fiji, but also in several other countries in the world. The colonies, Dutch colonies, French colonies, and the British colonies. He emphasizes that Indians of the intended diaspora have a remarkable lot in common. People from Suriname, Guyana, Holland, Mauritius, Fiji, South Africa, Natal, Belize, and other countries immediately develop a close bonding because of their use of common words, similarity of names, etc., etc. Chutney, Sohani Raat, क्यों, ये सब हम जानते हैं. Once again, his book Chalo Jahaji focuses on the Girmit experience in the descendants diaspora worldwide. So let we all remember this great soul, this great man, this great son of Girmitias as one of the first pioneers of the global Girmitian itihas of history. Let me pray for his Divanga Atma and for his relatives. Om Sarve Mangal Mangliye Shive Sarvad Sadike Saranya Triambake Gauri Narayanai Namostute. Om Triambakam Jajamahe Sugandhin Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamimandanat Miturmukhi Mamitat. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Thank you, Dhanyavad.
Dhanavad Singh Saab for your beautiful tribute towards our friend many years ago living in London. Myself, I got to know about Professor Brij Lal only through his works. Chalo Jhaji was one of them. And I think most of us also got to know Brij through his works, but later in between I'll have a commentary of how Professor Brij Lal, the academic, became a friend, Brij Lal, to me.
I know.
Now I invite Swasti from Switzerland to pay her respect towards Brij.
So namaste all of you, and thank you, Dr. Satish, to invite me again on the platform, so that to give tribute to Professor Brij Lal. On behalf of the Green Media Foundation, we all pay tribute to this great professor. Actually, I did not know many things about this great personality. I have come after his death. I have come to read about him. I have come to listen to some speeches about him, and I get to know how great he was. And I feel, yes, we have lost a very great personage in our from our midst. As he had done many works on the green media's research, and many research also, as he was a great academician, great professor. He liked especially lives. I mean, he liked meeting people. He liked talking to people. He liked investing himself in everything he's doing. He had traveled also a lot. He met many people. He has inspired also many people. As an academician, he have also pushed many people, advised many people in their choice of their studies. Okay. I have learned also he have done in all her books also, he have contributed a lot in schools, in universities, everywhere. And it's a great name known worldwide. I have get to know also he have been in India many times. He had been in his ancestor village also. Over there, he have made many donations of the books also, and it have come at my knowledge also that over there in India, many people over there have suggested him to work in India, to stay in India, to build up school and universities and so on. And I read, he said that India is a land of my grandmothers, my grandfathers, but Fiji is my birthland, and that show how much he loved his he loved his birthplace, Fiji, and all he have done to the Fijians, all the donations he have done, all things that he has inspired, helped many students also, and some also to know that he never left his students in the term that he was always a great help for them, and he inspired them. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that I have come to across many speakers, across many articles have been written about him, about all the tributes have been done after his demise, and I'm very I feel connected and attached to him, because we are all in the same vision for the future, and I think he has inspired, and he inspired me also most to go on our vision to help people to find out the roots and to connect people with India, not to, yes. So I on behalf also of Unita Foundation, we give all our sympathies also to all the physicians who are missing him now, and who are realizing all beautiful things he have done, all he has been constructed, all that, and also a special thoughts for his spouse and the children, and also all his family who are missing him now. And I pray also that wherever he is now, I'm sure he will continue to inspire us and guide us in our future mission. And thank you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Swasti ji. Yes, you brought out a lot of many points we all agree with. I must say that in a documentary which I made with Professor Brij Lal about his feeling towards Fiji, he had just retired in Canberra, and I was its residence. And when he talked about Fiji, going back to Fiji to contribute back to his village, he loved his village, Tambia, and he loved his Fiji, and he was almost teary-eyed when he was talking to me in this documentary. And it so happened that the last day he was in Fiji, that fateful day when he was deported from Fiji. I had met him in Suva and spoken to him, and later that night a telephone call informed me that he was arrested and taken to the airport, and subsequently he was deported. So unfortunately he was never to return to his beloved Fiji. And I'm sure a lot of people know about that, and some of us will continue to talk about that. And also agree with you that Brij's work will continue to inspire all of us here and many of our future generations for a very long time. Ashokji, yes, before I ask you, to invite your special guests. Young Shekhar from Sacramento is to attend a work meeting in 3 o'clock. So I would like to invite him to say his tribute before I hand it over to you. So Shekhar, please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Rai. My name is Shekhar Kumar. I'm from Sacramento, California. I've worked with Dr. Rai occasionally to assist people from Fiji in tracking down their Indian ancestry. I did not know Professor Brij Lal personally, but he's someone that I'm very familiar with. Professor Brij Lal's name was the first name I encountered when I started my independent research on indenture about 20 years ago. He is a pioneer in the area of Gurmit research, and he will continue to be recognized as a key figure in the area. Professor Brij Lal gave my young self hope and encouragement. His literature helped me understand the history of my ancestors and also helped me create an identity for myself. He will continue to inspire many young people for generations to come. It is now up to the current and future generations to further develop his research and legacy. One of the greatest ways to honor him is to continue working towards documenting our history further. Thank you.
Thank you, Shekhar, and we'll meet again soon. Good luck with the meeting. And now I hand it over to Ashokji to continue this tribute to Professor Brij Lal.
Thank you. As we said, we were trying to get the Europeans quickly to say their tributes. And at this point, I would like to invite Mahin Punswamy, originally from Mauritius, but now living in France. He's an avid PIO who has traveled widely to South Africa, to India, of course. He was educated there. And he's the forefront of PIO issues in Europe and connecting the UK and Belgium and Netherlands and Germany all together into one cohesive group. At this point, I'd like to ask Mahin Punswamy to say a few words. He has sent me a message, but I'd like to have him say what he wanted.
Okay, thank you, Ashok. Thank you, Ashok, and also Dr. Satish Rai in France. Many thanks for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to say a few words to pay tribute to late Professor Brij Lal, who left us for his heavenly abode a few days ago. I read since a few days about him, since me too, I didn't know much about him. I even asked Ashok a few days ago some information to help me to go through his literature, to know more about what he has written about our Indian diaspora and the Girimitya. So from the day I know that Professor Brij Lal has really done a great work for us. And I've seen that also he has left us a little early at the age of 69 in Brisbane, Australia. I can say that the Indian diaspora has lost a great friend, a great companion, and really a man of great stature. His legacies and contribution on the history of indenture and Girimitya will live forever. Professor Brij Lal has excelled in various disciplines, as far as you can see, from history, biography to political commentaries. And on my end, I think he is one of the most eminent scholars in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. And also, since he has written many books, which still I have to read because I'm still learning a lot about the history of our ancestors. And I can see that he has contributed really a lot to it. And Professor Brij Lal also is a role model. He's a role model to inspire others. And let us hope that there will be many more people similar to Professor Brij Lal who can bring the values and causes of the Girimitya to high levels. My friends from Europe, France, Francophone countries, and myself, we pray that his soul rest in peace. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Manji. Yes, I think now, as we speak, and more people get to know about late Professor Brij Lal, more and more people would read the books he has written and watch the documentary films which he has appeared in. He has appeared in many of great documentaries on Indian indenture, including mine ones. And so thank you. Ashokji?
Yes, amongst our attendees is a dear friend. His name is Professor Rup Narayan Prasad, originally from Guyana, lived quite a while in New York, and now he resides in Florida. He has a unique perspective on writing because he is a writer himself, as well as a mentor to many writers. In fact, he is a mentor to Jang Bhagirati, who is Chalo Chinidad, and other books recently. So I'd like to ask Professor Rup Narayan to bring us his commentary on Brij.
Brothers and sisters, thank you all for the invitation. Through Ashok, I must mention him specially. I was out on the streets and I taking my wife someplace, and I said to her, listen, I have to be home. I really want to attend this function to pay tribute to our brother, Professor Brij Lal, who has done excellent work for Fiji, in Australia. And I feel connected to him. It's not proper to say that I don't know him, because what does it mean to know someone? We know his work, we know his mission, we know his purpose, we know his character, we know his writings. This is how we know someone. The day, of course, will come for all of us when we will have to leave to the hereafter. And it's a day that I guess we are all preparing for, because it will happen. And we will all leave our legacy like Professor Brij Lal. And I was thinking about the purpose of that legacy. As each of us will depart sometime or the other, but as a group of people, PIOs, I'm sad to say that our mission is slipping away from us as our stalwarts leave us because of God's will. It is my opinion and belief that one of the best ways we can pay tribute to our brother, Professor Brij Lal, is to continue his purpose more aggressively, more successfully. Perhaps we should put foremost on our agenda the situation in Fiji, and we should make it as a continuation of his mission to let that be a success in Fiji. It is sad to me that Professor Brij Lal was deported. He had to go to Australia. He had to leave his beautiful village, that beautiful country and island, one, if not the most beautiful in the world, one of the most. And when I read of that, that very brought much sadness to me, to know that someone has to be forced out of the country of his or her birth. I personally appreciate Professor Brij Lal's work. And for that purpose and reason, I pay tribute to him. I bring our condolences to his family, to his friends, to Fijians, who of course will miss him as we will miss him. But missing him will not further his mission. We must further that mission. May the Lord accept our brother, and may he bring peace unto his soul. Hari Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om.
Thank you very much. Ashokji, please continue.
Thank you. You know, it's ironic that our ancestors, whether they went to Fiji, Mauritius, Africa, and the Caribbean, were taken on false promises. And it's ironic that Brij Lal was exiled based on falsehoods from his own his country of birth. How terrible that is. I have a message from Dr. Lamarche Rupnarayan, who was a professor at in USA, and he knew Brij Lal very well. So I'll read a portion of what he has said. Fiji, Australia, and the Gurmitius family have lost a scholar, politician, and innovator on Christmas Day 2021 in his adopted home in Brisbane, after being banished from his land of birth. For most of his 69 years of life, Professor Lal was an inspirational and influential figure in Gurmitius studies, publishing numerous articles and books, as well as an open critic of the military regime in Fiji. He was an expert and international icon in indentured studies whose place in academic community is secure and irreplaceable, while in the latter situation, the exile, based on championing of democracy, was an injustice and a violation of human rights perpetrated on him. A genius has fallen, and I suppose we will be poorer by his passing. We must, however, use his accolades, achievements, and aspiration to move on, so much so that his legacy and his sterling contribution to humanity do not end up in vain. His lantern of leadership will continue. I'll skip a portion of that. If ever there was a person born to study Gurmitius, it was Brij. I'm convinced that one can take Brij out of Tabia, but not Tabia out of Brij. Now, Satish should know what Tabia means. It's home village, right?
Yes, this is
outside his family environment. Nothing seems to please Brij more than when he speaks about Fiji and the world of Gurmitia. In the words of Brij, of the conferences I attend and present papers, the ones in Gurmitius are most satisfying. We all know that. That's true. I will never forget the conversations I had with Brij at the conference that ventured out in myriad directions and eventually honing into where we have come from and where we're going. He remained flattered by my one statement to him in Mauritius. Whenever we meet, we tend to get in the spirit of things. Brij would then turn statement to appealing ways, shown in his most keynote addresses. In his last email to me, he said he was in high spirits and hoped that I was too. Brij had a wonderful sense of humor. He loved a good joke and would laugh heartily, exposing all his teeth. He was a small man with a big heart. Rest in peace, my friend Brij. This is from Professor Romarj. So continue.
Yes, Ashokji, I think we have got Vishnu with
Yes.
us.
Mm-hmm.
So shall we invite Vishnu to pay his
Please.
tribute?
Please.
Before...
He knew Brij Lal very well too.
So that would be me, right?
Yes, as Vishnu.
Regrettably, I'm on the beach in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and so you might have some noise in the background. So there are a few things I want to reflect about him. I believe most that I wanted to say has been said already. No doubt he was an outstanding scholar, pioneering scholar on Gyrmid studies, especially as it relates to Fiji. In one of his trips, in fact, I think in his trip to Trinidad, he had said that his grandfather, I think it was Aja, he did use the word Aja, was supposed to go to then British Guyana when he was recruited. And for whatever reason, the gangway had closed on the ship, and he was the last one left out. And therefore, he became the candidate for the next ship that was going out, and it was to Fiji. And so that's how he ended up in Fiji. So he had joked that he would have ended up being a national of British Guyana. So I wanted to make that point. And then Professor Rupnarayan Prasad spoke. Perhaps he may have forgotten, but he had met Brij Lal at Columbia University. Rupnarayan was one of the key organizers of the conference at Columbia University in July 1988, and Brij had come and delivered a paper on Fiji. So I don't know if Rup remember any encounters with him, but I'm sure you would have met Brij because Brij was there at all the cultural events and as well as on the academic presentations. The third point I wish to make is that I'm very, very disappointed in the government of India that when Brij was exiled in 2009, the government of India did not speak out at all condemning the Fijian dictatorship and its actions. Brij was no threat to the government. And even after democracy was restored in Fiji in, I think in around 2011-12 or so, and Prime Minister Modi visited Fiji, he could have made that request that the exile be withdrawn and that Brij be allowed back into his homeland. And aside from that, I also am disappointed that Brij was not recognized by the Indian government for his outstanding work on the Indian diaspora, Gyrmid studies, Indians in Australia and in other places as well. So having said all of that, I hope these will now be corrected. I hope the government of Fiji would allow his ashes to be brought back home if that is the intention of the family. And so we do recognize the work of Brij as being an outstanding scholar. The mere fact that we are having this show our appreciation for his work. No, indeed, he was one of the most brilliant academicians in history and the indentureship, as well as on Pacific communities. I thank you for allowing me to make my brief contributions. I have two pieces that I've written, and I think I've shared it with many people as well. On Brij, my own personal experience of him coming to my home and staying for almost a week, and our conversations and discussions about political events in his homeland, as well as in the Caribbean. And the other piece is generally about some of his work. So thank you very much.
I just want to add one comment to what Vishnu just said. When the first coup happened in Fiji and the PIO community took up the matter to the UN, the government of India was very silent. And the second coup happened and they became just as silent. So the interest of the PIOs in Fiji was not on their radar. And it allowed the government, the illegal government, to flourish and to have more empowerment. So where do we look as descendants of indentured people when our population is less than 50% in every country except Mauritius? If you look to India and you do not get the relief or the redress or the protection, then we have to look elsewhere, which is, I believe, and Satish and I have talked about this many times, is among ourselves. Among ourselves, we number over 11 million people, descendants of indentured laborers, as commonly referred to as Gurmitias. So the government of India does not see it in their interests that our interests do not coincide with that. So, do you want to call our friend now, Dennis, if he's available, Satish?
Yes, please do. Dennis, we'd like to see your lovely face if you are on video. Dennis, are you there?
Satish.
Yes.
Namaste to everyone.
Namaste.
I am. My face is not available, unfortunately. But yes, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words on behalf of Professor Brij Lal. I would like to say my deepest condolences to the family and a great loss, definitely to the Indian diaspora community, especially from the historic standpoint. Myself being the one of the newest person on this mission, I would say maybe about 10 years now I have joined this campaign. I could only imagine what it's like for a person like Professor Brij Lal to be, deeply embedded in the cause of Gurmita history, and for the amount of significant work he has contributed to the community, that which will serve the community well and which will move forward into the next generation and the generations after, and for which we are compelled to carry on his legacy and carry on his work and ensure that his work, his hard work survive, and that, whatever his vision was, that we also continue to work on those aspects. Truly saddened by the fact that he was in exile from his birth country. This is clearly a marker of the struggles that many diasporas from the world confront, trying to adapt to their homeland in terms of weaving that Indian identity into the new colonial identity. Clearly, I agree with Vishnu that there should have been some action taken by the Indian government back in 2009, I believe it was. But yeah, those are my simple words about a profound human being who has departed and left his marker in the course of Indian indentureship history. So I want to thank you, and again, deepest condolences to the family, and may the community always pay regards. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. And I think you are the last speaker for today. I'm sure as we move along, we may gather again at the appropriate time in future to talk more about Brij, because we have lost him, but we have not lost his work. His work will continue to inspire us, and there has been some talks. Unfortunately, Ajay from London could not join us today. I've spoken to him, and we're talking about if it's possible to have some sort of monument constructed for Professor Brij Lal in London and perhaps in other places as well. As for myself, as I said, I got to know Brij first through his works, and then in 1991, I requested my cousin, late Jan Prakash, to arrange a meeting with Professor Brij Lal in Suva. We met. As those who have met Brij Lal, you get impressed with him immediately. He has an air about him which we cannot ignore. After that, we started to meet at various conferences, and it was in Gujarat. In 2006, there was a conference in Ahmedabad, I think, that the fourth coup of Fiji took place. Quite a few academics from Fiji were there, including Professor Subramani, Professor Nandan, Dr. Ganesh Chand, and we cautiously, based on the information we got received from Fiji, cautiously said it was a good coup, and it was only Professor Brij Lal who didn't think it was a good coup. Of course, he had plenty more insight about the workings of Fiji government, having written or co-written the Constitution of Fiji, and he was very, very upset. And we took a walk on the streets of Ahmedabad, and where he told me why he thought that coup was not a good coup, and we now know that it was not a good coup, and no coups are good. And he objected to it from the very first day. He continued to object to the coup until what happened. He became a victim of his rightful objection to that coup. And later on, as I said, I made a couple of documentaries with Professor Brij Lal, including my doctoral film, In Exile at Home. And during the course of this period, I got to know Brij Lal very, very well. As people who know him, he's an academic. He's got a very serious air about him all the time, or most of the time. But Brij liked to have a couple of drinks as well. Now that's when his guards were down, and you see the other side of Brij, where he becomes very friendly. He becomes a bit prankish as well at times. And I think this trauma of loss is too recent for me to articulate most of the things which I would want to say or write about him, and later perhaps I would do that. Last time I met Brij was his home in Brisbane. Somehow Brij liked to have a house on top of a hill. His Canberra house was on the top of a hill. His Brisbane house also was a very impressive house on top of a hill. And I went to visit him, and we had some Fiji kava and some refreshments, and I spent longer than what I thought I would with him. And we had a wonderful time, and there's a memory I have of Brij. And so that's all I would say about my friend Brij at this juncture. I'll invite Ashok.
I just want to thank Dr. Bishram for jolting my memory. Yes, Dr. Bishram, you're quite right. I now recall the conference, and a wonderful conference, and I remember Brij there in this presentation. I also want to make the statement here that when we formed the Bishram was a part of that. When we formed the World Union of Guyanese for Democracy, which organization we worked through to bring back a sense of democracy to Guyana. After that, we were to look at Fiji. We were to focus our attention on Fiji, but unfortunately, the person we got into government in Guyana, Dr. Chetty Jagan, he then pulled out all his members from the World Union and essentially caused the disintegration of the Union. And so the second country we were going to focus on, Fiji, we were unable to fulfill that mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Rup Naranji. I must say, looking at you for the first time, you do resemble a bit of Brij Lal with your graying beard and hair. Please take it as a compliment.
Of course, yes, most naturally. I mean, I have every reason to accept what you said. I am sure that Professor Brij Lal is in me someplace.
Hey, we came from the same genes, all of us.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
In closing, I just want to say thank you to all of you, and thank you to Dr. Satish Rai for collaborating with myself to make this tribute. Perhaps it's best that we don't have that many more people, because this discussion here is very intense and focused with heartfelt expressions. One comment I wanted to make when when Dr. Vishnu Bishram said maybe we should have a monument for him in, Satish said a monument in London. I think it would be wiser or more appropriate, not wiser, more appropriate if you say, let's have a monument for him in the village of Tabia. If the government of Fiji would allow that, then the government of India put some pressure. That would be much more meaningful.
Yes, Ashokji, I think, and I think it should be the people of Fiji who should do that.
Yes.
Because Brij belonged to the people, and because especially when the government of Fiji discarded him, I think there's already a museum dedicated to Professor Brij Lal in Saweni, which is the city where I was born. But a monument in Tambia would be appropriate.
So I think I suggest that when you do have some time, we can collaborate on behalf of IDC, a message to the people in Fiji, such as Mahendra, Biman, Ganesh, and others who are willing and courageous enough to put their names to something that will appeal to the government of Fiji for recognition by putting a monument in the village from where he came.
Looks like a plan, Ashokji. We will certainly work on that, and I think Ashokji, it will be appropriate if we allow anybody else who wants to have a last word before we end it.
Yes, any other comments? All right.
I would like to make one comment, Ashok. One comment, please.
Sure.
We should not give ourselves the privilege to meet only over death. Since we have the Zoom, we should, through the organizations that are there, we should see if we can arrange some more of these Zoom meetings where we can express ourselves and be more camaraderie and energize our spirits and so on. Thank you.
Thank you. I know Dr. Kumar Mahabir and others have weekly meetings, but the subjects that, in my opinion, that they're handling is not focused enough on our history. They're just extraneous things, although they are trying to do something good. But we'll call on you, Roop, and put our heads together, right?
Feel free.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. One final thing is the COVID is going crazy and the surges in every country is rampant. So please take care, be safe, take all the precautions, and be well. Okay?
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too.
Before we end,
Thank you.
Pramod wants to say something, and also we're going to finish with a prayer. Probably Pandit Pramod Rai and Singh Saab. Both of you can do that, led by Pramod. So Pramod, go ahead.
Can I just say something?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. If I'm not misunderstanding, I think Fiji Island is organizing the Hindi Divas this year. Do you have this information?
I can find out from Dr. Sunil.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can find out because in our event we have done last December, we have got very in touch with the High Commissioner of Fiji in Delhi, and he have approached us for an event which will be held on the day of Fiji. I think it will be in May. Is it that?
Yes.
The day of Fiji. Yeah. Perhaps on that occasion we can discuss about doing something for Professor Brij Lal. I'll discuss with Dilip apropos of all that, what we can do for like a little memorial, as you said. I don't know how we can do it, but perhaps we can have some discussion about it. If really, I think that I don't remember, but I just see a flyer going on that Fiji is organizing this year, I think, World Indian Day.
Okay, I'll find out.
What does that mean? Yeah. World Indian Day, what does that mean? They're just making up names?
Hindi Day, I think, probably.
Yeah.
But
I'll send it to you. I look about it and send the flyers to you. It's really a good information or not. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I suggest is that we end this the tribute, and we can stay back and have a conversation. So, Pandit Pramod Rai, can you come in, please, with your final prayer towards Professor Brij Lal?
Okay, we'll just do Samarpan mantra here. Tvameva mata cha pita
Tvameva bandhu cha sakha tumeva.
Tvameva vidya darvinam Tvameva sarva eva deva. Oh God, you are our mother and father. You are our brother and friend. You are our knowledge and wealth. You are everything to us. We pray that the departed soul of Professor Brij Lal finds moksha and finds peace and finds place in your sharan. Om Astoma Sadgame Tamsuma Jyotirgame Mrityurma Amritam Game. Om Dev Shanti Antaricham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapa Shanti Roshadaya Shanti Banaspataya Shanti Vishwadeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shanti Reva Shanti Shama Shanti Redhi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sabhi ko namaste. Thank you very much.
Thank you to everybody. I invite Ashokji for his final words before we end today's tribute to Professor Brij Lal.
We have lost an icon, and we will continue losing them, but we must remember them. It's our duty, it's our obligation, it's an inspiration to others when we remember and we do something significant. I remember one of our community activists, advocates in Queens, a good friend, Ramesh Kalicharan, on the night of his wake, I got the courage to say, we'll name a street after you. And I did. I pursued it and did. And so I'm now in the process of naming streets after institutions and notable people of high achievement. So when you talk about building a memorial, I'm also into that. So let's work together and remember those who have made it possible for us to be who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashokji, and all it remains for me to say thank you, everybody, for taking your time out today, and for people in Europe for tonight. You must well past your bedtime. Please have a good night's rest, and we'll meet again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Good night.
Namaste.